The cold winter weather is coming, and the team at Peerless Boilers, they're ready to help you prepare for this season. It's time to make sure your home is nice and warm for the cold weather. Save loads of money on your fuel bill. Do it now before it's too late and you've got a mess on your hands. Start thinking about replacing your old beast of a boiler with a new high-efficiency Peerless Boiler. Go to peerlessboilers.com, pop in your zip code, and you'll find a dealer near you. Remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers, and proud sponsor of Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel.
This is John D'Agostino with D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm, and I'm proud to be a sponsor and partner of WABC Radio and Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel. God bless America.
I'm attorney Jenna D'Agostino, continuing the legacy my father, John D'Agostino, started 35 years ago.
I grew up on these New York and New Jersey streets. They shaped me. I'm attorney John D'Agostino from D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm.
Call our team first.
888-24-LAW-24. 888-24-LAW-24. D'Agostino. Law Bite Back.
Entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
I thought it was odd that today President Biden said that he spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for the first time in 7 weeks or something.
Pathetic.
They've been at war for over a year. And he hasn't spoken with him in 7 weeks. When was the last time you've spoken with Netanyahu?
Like 2 days ago. And he came to my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago, with his wife. It was lovely. But he came to Mar-a-Lago. He came to, I guess he was
I saw the visit.
At the White House, maybe the UN.
Is there anything you could share with us in terms of that, the Israel-Iran conflict? What would you do to end the war on Israel?
I could tell you that Bibi has been very strong. He is not listening to Biden.
It sounds like he stopped sharing information with the U.S.
Look, Biden is the one that came up with the Afghanistan plan. Take the soldiers out first and leave all that weakness. Leave Bagram behind. Bagram's one of the biggest air bases in the world. We built it for billions and billions of dollars many years ago. It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. And he gave it up. He's a fool. And we can't have another fool as a president. Biden is smarter than she is. We can't have this for another 4 years. We're not going to have a country left.
Young American on this Christopher Columbus holiday that came from Lou Rufino today. David Bowie, Young American. That was Trump with Maria Bartiromo yesterday. And they don't talk much, Bibi and Biden. Well, of course they don't. You know who was actually talked to Bibi Netanyahu most recently? More than Joe Biden? Me. Finally had the chance to sit and meet with Bibi, and man, did we have a great conversation and a great time breaking the fast in Jerusalem together. That brings me to my next guest, who is truly a dear friend. I've only met Bibi once. This guy's like best friends with Bibi for decades and decades. He's the best attorney to ever live, and he's a great voice for the Jewish people and the law. My friend Alan Dershowitz. Good morning, Mr. Dershowitz. How are you?
I'm so glad you had a chance to meet with Bibi. Bibi will benefit from it. The American people will benefit from the knowledge that you've obtained from him. Look, Bibi is exactly the kind of strong leader that Israel needs now. You know, the Psalms of David say that Hashem ozli amo yitain, the Jewish God will give the Jewish people strength, and only then will they get peace. Israel will only get peace by being stronger than all the combined enemies of Israel that want to destroy it. And I think that Netanyahu understands that. Peace comes only through strength. The hostages we rescued only through strength. It won't come through treaties. It won't come through negotiations. Every time there's been a treaty, it's been violated. Look, there was supposed to be no Hezbollah troops in south of the Litani River, and the UN peacekeepers are there to protect Hezbollah, not to protect Israelis who live in the north of Israel and have been taken out of their homes. So, you need strength, and I'm glad you gave him some additional strength when you met with him.
No, I certainly did. He actually also took out one of his books and personalized the book to me and said, thank you for being a champion of our people. And he said, warm appreciation. It was interesting because I met with Bibi on Saturday, and only 2 nights before that, I actually met in his office with President Herzog. Those are 2 very different types of people. I love them both, but they're 2 very different types, yes?
There's no question. I've known both of them for years and years and years and years. I knew both of their fathers, and they're both strong and in different ways. Herzog is speak softly but carry a big stick, and Bibi, carry a big stick but speak loudly too, so that people can hear you. They're very, very different people. One comes from labor, one comes from Likud, but they unite together in support of Israel, and they're very, very important. They're a wonderful combination. But, the hatred of Israel is so deep among academics and others that even if Herzog were to become a prime minister of Israel, Herzog is a peacenik, a leftist in many ways, the hatred of Israel would be the same.
Yeah.
Bibi is just an easy target, but the hatred of Israel goes so deep and so much beyond. And the Der Stürmer of the day, today's Der Stürmer against the Jewish people is the New York Times. Day after day after day, they have columns attacking Israel. Today, they have a column saying that Israel violated international law by asking for the peacekeepers to leave Lebanon. The peacekeepers, they're human shields that are being used to protect Hezbollah. Yep. And Bibi was absolutely right to tell the UN to get them out of there, or else they're going to get hurt.
Yep. It's interesting. You may not remember this, but maybe you do. Do you remember the first time I met you? First time I met you, Mr. Dershowitz, believe it or not, was outside the New York Times building dating back,
right.
Like 5-6 years ago. Me, you, Dove Hiking, a host of others, because they ran a cartoon where Trump was walking Bibi. They had Bibi as a dog and Trump as a dog. Right. You remember that?
Yeah, of course. I was there. I spoke. You spoke. We stood up against the New York Times. I was the major New York Times op-ed writer on legal issues for years. I had more op-eds than anyone else. And then I started to defend Israel, and I defended Trump in the Senate. I'm now canceled by the New York Times. They don't interview me when they want an issue or know about law. Good. Constitutional law, they don't interview me. They don't allow me to publish op-eds.
You're better off.
The Auschwitz Jewish Center Foundation is a not-for-profit organization whose mission is to utilize lessons from the Holocaust to fight hatred and bigotry in all forms through educational programs and provide direct humanitarian assistance to victims of mass atrocities and genocide. Your support helps ensure AJC's vital work to fight anti-Semitism and all forms of hatred through education. They use the lessons of the Holocaust to honor the past and transform the future for generations to come. For all the details and to support the Auschwitz Jewish Center Foundation, visit ajcfus.org. That's ajcfus.org.
It's interesting, now that I've been to Israel twice in the last 6 months, and to you that's a joke, you've been there 100 times, but, I hear so many people here in New York talk about the conflict between the Jews and the Arabs. And when you go there, it becomes increasingly clear that people here have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea. You got to walk through the streets of, I walked through the streets of Judea and Samaria with Bethlehem just a couple of miles away. There is no love lost. They live together, they coexist, but they don't like each other, okay? And Jews don't trust the Arabs. And it's still a very, very, very tense and nasty situation, even in those communities where they're forced to coexist. But here, they have no idea. They're like, no. The Palestinians are, they're wrong, Alan. Go to Israel. You got to go to Israel to see what the dynamic is really like. Yes?
Yeah, and especially there are people in Israel who are very pro-Arab, very pro-Palestinian, very anti-Israel. Many of them lived in the kibbutzim that were the subject of the massacres on October 7th.
That's right.
People who were killed, many of them were major peaceniks. There was a woman, an elderly woman, who used to go to the border every day and bring Palestinian children and sick people to Israeli hospitals. first thing that happens when they found her, the people who she saved pointed out where her safe room is, and they burned her alive.
They killed her. And, I met this lady, Justin, what was her name? The lady that we interviewed Monday from State Road, who was the same person Dershowitz is talking about. Liberal, loved the Palestinians, and they almost killed her grandchildren.
Right, yeah. God, what was
I forgot her name.
She was a survivor of the 7th, yeah.
Right, and she actually talked about your cousin. Do you know, Alan, that your cousin actually showed up at the radio studio right after you hung up?
Yeah, well, my cousin is the chief rabbi of State Road, and he buried, 7 or 8 congregants on that day. I also got a message from Herzog some weeks ago saying he had just come from a shiva call from another relative of mine, a 32-year-old lawyer who had been killed in Gaza defending Israel. So, everybody has somebody who they've lost or who they may still lose because this war is not over, tragically.
Well,
and the United States government is not giving the kind of support that I would like to see it give. I'm glad they're sending some new defensive shield material and maybe American soldiers, but they ought to give them the green light to do what they have to do to prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear power. Because Iran as a nuclear power with a nuclear arsenal will endanger the world more than North Korea and any of the other nuclear powers today. So it has to be done, not only to protect Israel, to protect the United States and the rest of the world.
That's right. Her name is Adele Raymer, by the way, this lady. She was terrific. You know Adele. So what do you think he does? It's funny because we were sitting down talking. He's signing books. We're having a great time. He's got to be very careful because, Simon Falk, he loves you too. When they fly over people's house, they fly drones over people's houses just to catch Bibi in a comfortable situation. And they start killing him. Oh, nice, smoking a cigar while the hostages. So he's got to be very, very careful. He can't even sit down for a second and collect his thoughts. He can't do it. But he actually got up. I know, it's terrible. Yeah. So he got up at one point after hours with all of us and signing books and doing videos. It was so nice. And he disappeared to Simon's office. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God, maybe this is the call. What do you think he does in terms of going back at Iran?
Well, I think he's made a deal with the United States. That's my surmise, that he has agreed not to attack Iran's nuclear reactor now in exchange for a promise. How much the promise will be enforced, we don't know. But in exchange for a promise that if Iran gets closer, the United States will provide it the kind of bunker-busting bombs that are necessary for Israel to successfully destroy all of Iran's nuclear capacity, including those dug deep within the mountains that are not now subject to the kind of bombs that Israel has. So maybe a deal has been struck. That's my surmise. It's nothing more than a surmise, but that would make some sense. Otherwise, why would Bibi halt? He's not going to halt because of fear of a lame duck president who may not be the next president. Right. I think he's going to do it only if he thinks Israel will benefit. All
right. I know you have to run. Final 60 seconds. Sure. Your pupil, another great attorney, Arthur Aidala, but of course you're his mentor. You should be everybody's mentor. He's representing Mayor Eric Adams and that whole mess at City Hall. What do you think ends up happening there?
Well, first of all, it's one of the only smart things Eric Adams has done recently to hire Arthur Aidala.
That's great.
And anybody who hires Arthur Aidala has done a smart thing, including me. I mean, he's been my lawyer also for years, and he's a great lawyer. I wish we could see just less personal benefit and less corruption. And I don't know why. There was a poll recently that said, bring back Bloomberg. Just the one thing about Bloomberg, he's not going to ever do anything for money.
Right. Trump, too.
Yeah.
Both those guys. Yeah.
Of course.
Well, we'll see. He's got a full plate, Arthur, but I love you. Shana Tova, we're not done. We go from Yom Kippur to Sukkot, right?
Yeah. Well, have a great rest of your visit, and I'm so glad that Bibi got to meet you. More important than you got to meet Bibi, it's important for Bibi to know about you and what a strong voice you are for Israel, for American values, for patriotism, and for justice in America.
That means a lot coming from you. That's beautiful. Alan Dershowitz, I love you, and we'll talk again very, very soon. Have a great day.
Looking forward to it. Be safe.
My man. I love that guy, Alan Dershowitz. I never thought the other day where Alan Dershowitz would stockpile all these accolades for Sid Rosenberg. It's unbelievable. Thank you, Alan.